You're welcome back. This is the Editors Forum. My name is Raymond Ako, and my editors here are the editors for Ghanaian Lens and also The Finder. So I have the Lens and both The Finder here in the studio. The Finder found the Lens, and we actually get into a very wonderful conversation.
Yeah, the Lens is older than the Finder in terms of establishment. Yeah.
Okay, so
Finder cannot find
the Lens was used to find the Finder.
That would be better.
Interesting. Anyway, so but we still have a conversation on Major Adams Mahama. It's been laid to rest, but let's jump into another conversation. When the nation was mourning Major Adams Mahama, one incident that also was described as tragic happened. A man many have believed in because of his humble beginning and what he has done for other people, many of which have actually acknowledged his human rights record, was handed a sentence some say is unfair. I've heard lawyers describe the suspension, and was suspended for two quick reasons. That he had actually overcharged a client who's been talking, we'll tell you what he's been saying. And secondly, he has also done what they call touting, having to openly solicit for customers of a sort through a Facebook commentary. And this is what has actually sent him to the legal opposition, legal opposition for 3 good years, and Kobe can identify with legal opposition. I mean, not necessarily because he's in that grouping, but first and foremost, we've gone beyond the point of, and he's appealed already because he feels that it was harsh, and some people have described the sentence as harsh. But the latest came in when in the course of the week under review, the client spoke. He said the man was unfair to him. He denied him the resources that he actually got because of him, and that is where he is today, and that he deserved whatever he got because God was punishing him. Then the human rights advocate became, or looked like a villain in the eyes of many, until another recording surfaced, and he was portrayed to have seen the client as somebody who said, I said many of the things I've said against you in times past because I was depressed, and they did not represent the truth in this case. Now, you're not a lawyer, but in your dealings with your customers, there's some confidentiality that you want to repose in that. What lessons can we learn from the Xavier Sosu case? Elvis first.
Well, when you ask me lessons, in fact, for me, personally, I think that in this day and age where we have a lot of fraudsters in the system, the whatever article that the Ghana General Legal Council has that say a lawyer cannot advertise, for me personally I disagree. Because I must know the lawyer, I must know the law firm to know this is a credible person that I can deal with and get results.
But I know there's a history to it, right?
Yeah, I understand. But the UK which gave us the law, they have reviewed their laws many times. That we are working with the same laws. Since they gave it to us, we are still working with the same laws.
Certainly.
Yet they have reviewed theirs. So there are certain things that we used to do here. They don't do it because they have changed their laws. But we are still living with some of this. So for me, in this day and age where there's a lot of fraudsters in the system, for me, every now and then we hear of lawyers, people who claim to be lawyers and they turn out to be fake lawyers.
Some have even pursued cases.
For years before they are caught that they actually did not have the qualifications. So for me, I think that for the general good of society,
there's a role of lawyers, sometimes published.
For me, for the good of society, I think that it is better that the lawyers rather advertise, so that we know who they are, we know where we can find their offices, we know what they are capable of doing, so that when we are looking for a lawyer, we know, oh, this is the person who can help me. So for me personally, I think that it's about time the General Legal Council take a second look at that article.
Others have advocated the same stance.
And make it for all of us to be better. For me, that is my point. But the dealings within Sosu and the client, I think that there are many issues that have come up. And for me, looking at it critically, when the issue broke, this is a story, a paper like The Finder, we followed it a lot. Yeah. When the guy was
in prison after 14 years,
then the was looking for following the compensation and all those things. The Finder is a paper that we actually followed it. The guy he actually came to our office on several occasions on this. So this case is something that we have followed for some time. What I would say is that, okay, the General Legal Council says this is how much Sosu should have charged, and he charged more than that, according to documentary evidence. So they are sanctioning him. For me, I think that, in my opinion, the General Legal Council is an institution that operates with laws.
Yeah.
But I think that, in my opinion, the sentence is a bit harsh for me.
I see.
They could have done it a little lower. Secondly, I have read an article done by Manasseh on this issue, where he actually added contract upon contract that was signed between the law firm and the Ejari gentleman.
Yeah.
And he personally signed his signatures to some of these things, that he agrees that if you are able to do this for me, I'll give you this, I'll give you that. So whatever Soso took from him actually is documented. So it's not like the thing is hidden, the money came before something. Actually, they signed the documents before even they will lay hands on the money.
The difference here is that the gentleman actually suspected that because the lawyer had sent his, bank account to the finance ministry for the money, he was going to be denied. But he actually got the money, and rather than the lawyer getting the money.
And when I listened to the tape you were talking about, when they asked him who said, Francis was asking the Ejari, where did you say I was paid money? And he was like, that is what somebody told me. So he actually even didn't see that.
So based on suspicion that could have happened.
He thought that the media house which came to interview him had actually paid some money to Soso. So for me, I think the issues are such that I think for all of us, it's a lesson, especially for the lawyers who do these human rights cases. I think that they do a lot to help us. If the firm had not decided to do that whole thing pre-finance on behalf of Ejari, probably maybe we will not be talking about compensation here today. Yeah. So for me, I think that if Francis even erred in some places, I think that, in my opinion, I think the sentence of 3 years for him not to practice, I think for me, it's on the high side.
So the question people are asking is that, so the cases he's dealing with, which of the other law firms are willing to do cases?
We understand that there are a lot of lawyers who do pro bono cases. A lot of them don't talk about it. They don't make it public. It's not that there are no lawyers in Ghana who are doing pro bono cases. But you see, when somebody can, on his own volition, probably you didn't even go to him, but he hears about your case and say, look, I want to help you in this case.
And we in the media, we talk to lawyers. He is one of the lawyers who is willing to take up a case.
To take up a case when nobody even has called him. So for me, I take the position that even if he had done something wrong, the 3 years in these difficult, challenging economic times, I think, and interesting, the 3 years ban is rather related to the advertisement.
Not necessarily
and not necessarily the Ejari case, rather the ban is 1 year. But the 3 years rather it's related to the advertisement, which for me, it baffles me. As I said, I don't agree with that law at all. So for me, I think that this thing is a lesson to all of us. As a finder, we follow those stories. This is not the only story. Somebody has come to make allegation that Soso is collected. There's another case that a lady also came to us that somebody has come to tell her that Soso is taking her name to go and collect money somewhere. Really? So we asked her for evidence, and then the lady went and never came back. But this is a lady who said somebody has impregnated her and abandoned her. And you didn't have a person. You went to him and he's trying to help you to see if he can get something for you. And all of a sudden, he turned around to come. In fact, this Ejari case for us, he even came to our office about more than a year ago, to come and tell the reporter who was working on the case that he has heard that Soso is using his name to go and collect money. So the reporter asked him, where is the evidence? Who told you? And where did you get that information? Then he went and never came back. So for me, it's on paper that yes, he should have charged 10% instead of 15%. That is for the legal fees. Yeah. And then they had another agreement on. No, that's
what the general legal counsel
indicated. To indicate that.
So that this was the amount.
10%.
What he charged was excessive. In fact, the charge was overcharging.
Yeah, and then they had another agreement which is also another 10%. So in all, so the two agreements entitles also to 25% of the amount. But when you see what Manasseh did, there were two different agreements. The 10% is to cover providing him accommodation, his health and everything. That is for a 10% agreement. But for the legal fees itself, according to what Manasseh posted in his article, it is 15% that Soso charged him. So when you put the two together, it is 25%. So for me, I think that we should take this case seriously, because for me, I am a media house and I've seen a lot of people come to our office and have cases and they'll tell you that I wish I can get a lawyer to help me. And then you ask yourself, me, I don't even know any lawyer I can recommend who will be willing to take up
little money to even pursue the case.
To take this case up for you. So there are a lot of people in the system who need these pro bono cases. So people who have openly come out and are willing to help people, even if there is some infraction somewhere, I think that we should add a human face to it, irrespective of what the law says. For me, that is the position I take on this.
Interesting. I hear you, but let me come to Kobe. Kobe, the conversation went to the point that, and I've heard lawyers say this is killing a fly with a sledgehammer. And if for nothing at all, consider the things he has been doing and do not deprive or deny the people of this republic his services because of what they consider to be minor offenses. But the General Legal Council did not think these were minor offenses in the first place. Too harsh punishment for him. His appeal, though.
Raymond is a wicked guy, you know that.
Which of the Raymonds?
You.
Oh, I have no competence in wickedness.
You know how very jealous the legal profession is about its image and reputation. And the General Legal Council, which can be termed as the Lord of
Lords.
No, okay, the Supreme Court is the Lord of Lords. Okay. That's the next step to the Lord of Lords has made a pronouncement, and you have asked 2 editors to come and make pronouncements on. It is like coming. Asking,
with the greatest of respect, you in this republic have made pronouncements on far more grievous issues and more higher consequence-oriented issues than this one.
It is like asking the altar boy to pronounce on the bishop and the pope.
I see, but with
that's our comment.
Yes, I know you will do so.
But I'm commenting, recognizing my limitations and my lack of
understanding
education in the law.
Yeah,
I'm talking purely from a commonsensical point of view. Maza, what is it that Soso is said to have done? Let's start with the Tao thing.
He put up stuff on Facebook which showed cases he had done.
Master, do you know do you know any legal firm in Ghana that has a website?
So many.
Oh, so
yeah, I know. I mean, I can pinpoint to many that I know of.
I see.
That of Sambo Kujeto, that of other.
Oh, but incidentally, Sambo Kujeto was also on the panel.
Yes,
the disciplinary committee.
And he has a website.
He has a website.
Oh, I see.
But I'm giving to understand that the website is different from the Facebook in this case.
Oh,
no, but in the website,
they separate the two.
No, you also talk about the cases you have done.
School, yes,
you also talk about
in law school,
the services you offer.
Kobe, in law school,
your contacts are there.
Yes, there are distinguishing features between the website and the Facebook.
Okay, even
and they are
at the time the law was passed, was social media in existence?
Not necessarily the case. The 62 law is not. But they are told that to be on the safe side, stay with the website and not the Facebook.
We are told that you should have distinguishing features.
Very good.
Oh, goodness me. And you see, again, the lords have spoken. I am nobody. I don't want anybody to come and cite me for contempt. I don't want anybody to come and say that my children are too young. They don't want to see their father going to jail for contempt. For any other thing that I'm proud of, no problem, but not for contempt. You understand? So, it is okay to have a website. It is okay to advertise the specialities of your website. We deal in land litigation, we deal in alternative dispute resolution, and all those things. It's okay to do it, but it's not okay to go on Facebook and do the same thing. I don't get it. So the website is for people in mass. The Facebook is for people in Ghana, or
no? See the difference. Let me explain to you.
I want to understand.
The difference is that one.
What's the difference?
You know. Okay.
You also need education.
I don't understand.
Gentlemen, let me explain to you. To the best of our appreciation of what yes, to the best of our appreciation of what they have told us. One, on the website, you are not inclined unless you deliberately go searching for information on the website to choose that. But on Facebook, when you put up a post, it's actually in everybody's face. It is accessible to everybody on first touch. So that's the difference.
That is wrong.
No, hold on.
That can't be right. If I'm not your friend on
Facebook, it's taught in law schools. Rightfully so.
Technologically, if I'm not your friend on Facebook and you put up a post, how do I see it?
You can see it.
No, I'm not your friend.
You're not
how
my
do I
friend.
see it?
But if
I need to go and search for you, Raymond. So and so before it will pop up.
Not necessarily.
It's the same way I'll search for a website.
If Kobe comments on the post,
but let me show you. Yes. Let me show you.
And my post is trending. You may see it on Facebook without you being my friend.
Let me show you how vacuous that argument is, and it's
this
totally
is
vacuous.
law school.
Oh, come on! I am not a lawyer, but I'm showing you how vacuous that argument is. Now take your phone, Google Sam Okujeto, and see whether you will not see his website.
Yeah, so you deliberately looked for it.
But at the same time, if I'm Sosu is not my friend or I don't think Sosu is my friend on Facebook.
Okay.
But if right now I'm looking for Sosu and I go to Facebook
I
will go and type his name.
They are saying that if you make the deliberate decision to go and look for him, there's no problem with that. But the website does not afford the opportunity to see it, but even if you don't look for it.
Who says Sosu?
But websites are distributed by cookies that they can just come. This website is here, click it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to look for Samukuja too. I'm looking for law firms in Ghana.
Yeah, you find him.
So what's the point?
That's not the difference. You want to look for it. They say don't be the one giving it to the person. Let the person come and look for it.
No, that's not the point.
So he posts himself on Facebook. If you look for me on Facebook, you can't see me.
Please, as for
I'm not getting it.
As for me, in this day and age, where there's too much fraud, I would prefer to know the law firm.
That's why their role of lawyers. It is published. We know lawyers in good standing and those who are in good standing.
How many people know them?
Oh, Elvis, I want to ask you a question.
Published.
Elvis, are you my friend on Facebook?
No.
So if I put something on Facebook,
I will never see it. I've never even read any post from you before. Unless I want to go and look for Kobe and I'll go and look for your name.
If somebody shares it on the wall, you'll see it.
No, if I'm not a friend to that
person,
if I share,
and you are not my friend, and you share, how will I
say? These gentlemen probably are not so much in the Facebook world, but if I share something of Kobe, you can see it on your wall.
But if I share,
for example,
can I share the website right now and you see it?
You can share, yeah.
You are not my friend.
Yes.
And you share something, how do I see it?
I'm saying that if I'm not your friend,
and Kobe is not my friend. Kobe is not my friend. You are not my friend.
Kobe is your friend. No, Kobe shares my stuff. Kobe
is not my friend. You are not my friend. And you share something. How do I see it?
That's the point.
Okay, so now
I will see it.
Yes.
So you see, that's what I'm saying. That for me, my position is simple. This day and age where there's too much fraud, it is the interest of the lawyers themselves to advertise before people begin to say, oh, this lawyer is popular. So let me go impersonate him.
And to think that is what he's going in for 3 years.
3 years, rather.
He's been suspended
for 3 years for that one.
He's going to stay at home and not make money and look after his family for 3 years while his rent is piling up, his other bills and responsibilities are piling up. For 3 years, he's going to sit at home because of this. I find it more like maybe there is something else that we are not being told.
And he even has an NGO that wants to provide free legal service to be aside pro bono.
Maybe the young man has stepped on some big toes that are taking vengeance.
We are given to understand that the General Legal Council has such reputation.
I don't have a problem.
Personalized issues are not the ones they consider.
I agree.
I mean, those who are commenting on the matter are not saying that there's no law. What they are actually saying is that this law is a cake and ought to be removed. And that's the difference between the non-existence. Yes, you're allowed to have reasonable suspicion, not the ones that are on the fringes of.
The 3 years immediately given everything makes it look like maybe the young man has stepped on some big toes and this is the time to use the sledgehammer to kill the fly. Like you said it, I'm not the one who said it. Why would you use a sledgehammer to try and kill a fly? Of course, because it has annoyed you. It has annoyed you to the point where you are even ignoring the impact of the sledgehammer on whatever the
I get you.
Yeah, so that's the point.
Okay, I want to ask. The lawyers you have on social media, that when there's issues in Ghana, and they come and write about what they understand the issue to be. For those of us who are not lawyers, to read and understand. Are they also advertising themselves by writing on issues of national interest?
But is it not pretty clear that I'm not representative of the General Legal Council?
I just wanted to know because these are questions.
I just explain what I understand.
These are questions.
Yes,
and as I said, if the lawyers want to avoid impersonation, the best is for them to rather advertise. Because we are in a world where anybody at all can impersonate you on social media, Facebook, everywhere.
Frankly, Kujo early on said something. He says, and I understand why many lawyers in Ghana try to insert themselves into politically charged cases so that they get noticed by the public. The reason is that lawyers, I'm told, don't have to advertise their trade. And he says, is this sensible? I thought consumers must know what services they procure.
Thank you.
And he continues to say that lawyer
services must procure. That is my point.
I want to finish that quote. He continues to say that lawyer Francis Sosu appears to have been unfairly dealt with by the legal counsel on that score. The legal counsel must have been asleep all the time when their members spoke and still speak openly about cases in the media. Effectively trying cases in the media. This is quite lawless. The legal counsel should review their lawless sentence of the gentleman. And that is a view shared by what they call it, the Imani boss.
So for me,
if I'm not going to be cited for contempt, I support that view.
No, for me, the point of you knowing what you are buying is critical.
Yes, into
I'm
a consumer engagement.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a lawyer, and now I don't know where to find a lawyer because the lawyer is not allowed to advertise.
So the idea is that you go from law firm to law firm, asking what can you do?
Do I even know their location? Why do I even know their location?
Wow.
So if it is easy, if the lawyers can advertise, and I know that, oh, lawyer A's office is here, lawyer B office is here. So if I have this case, I'm going to this lawyer. Is it not better? If somebody comes to me and says, oh, me, I'm a lawyer, I can do this case for you. And he mentions a name that I'm heard, but I don't know the person. Am I not going to give the person some money?
Elvis has taken over my time.
No, yes, I want him to finish the point because he asked a question. I'm coming back to you.
Will I not be defrauded by giving my money to somebody who is not?
That point you've made. So you are talking about.
We are on the same page.
I agree, but you're talking about coming to Ajari specifically.
Yes, I'm coming to Ajari.
Please do.
Masa, how many ex-convicts or convicted people have you dealt with before?
I have seen them.
Dealt with?
Dealt with?
Yeah.
Ex-convicts?
Yes.
A couple, not so many.
It's a whole psychology on its own. In fact, if you are a detective or you are a prisons officer and you don't know the psychology of the convict, they will jail you. And if a convict says that you, remember you're UAD, or I will give you trouble, Maza, find a way of making peace with that convict because they will do it. And because, I don't know, somehow prison breeds some sense of paranoia in them that...
Is it because of the conditions they find themselves in?
There is always theories of conspiracies. Suspicions brewing, going on at every time. Look, that thing about he saying on the recording, the second recording that came out, that Sosu had used him for money, it is just suspicion.
Yeah.
Mere suspicion. It's just suspicion. So he sits down and asks himself, Charlie, this lawyer, sometimes bring some people come interview me. Sometimes it take big money on.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, for example, the BBC, they don't give a person to interview you.
That is what's
so, I mean, some of these things you should understand the scope anyway.
You understand? And so, when that person from that background, I'm not saying that I'm not painting, but I'm giving you the psychology.
Yeah.
When that accusation comes in, you need to be very, very careful how you deal with it. My problem with the General Legal Counsel is the position that they said that the gentleman entered into the agreement at a point of when he was vulnerable.
He was vulnerable.
And I'm like, okay, perhaps me being a non-lawyer, I wouldn't understand what vulnerability in that context means. So it will be very important for the General Legal Counsel or lawyers to give us an education as to what constitutes vulnerability
in that situation.
So that when somebody is entering into an agreement under similar circumstances, then you know that this man is vulnerable. The fact that the General Legal Counsel said Sosu should return an amount of money to the gentleman out of the fees, for me, there is no explanation as to whether that is because the 25% in total was in excess or whether it was the amount, the 50,000 that was in excess.
Okay.
No, they explained. They said he's supposed to charge not more than 10% for legal fees. So once he charged beyond 10%, then it means that he has overcharged.
Was that contained in the
Yeah,
it was actually they explained it.
Yeah, that it was overcharged.
Yes,
yeah, he was overcharging the client. That is what they said. But as you're saying, if they say vulnerability, the gentleman in the interview with Joy FM says it is not Sosu who got him out of prison.
Yes, that's a fact.
And that he was out of prison. So if the man is out of prison, the question, how vulnerable is that? Somebody who is a free man.
No, he needed somebody to help him.
No. The vulnerability is not about needing somebody to the vulnerability about the fact that what is the vulnerability of me, a free man?
He didn't have anything. He came out of prison with nothing.
So if Sosu said you take 50% and I disagree, Why did he
support him?
Why wouldn't he go
He
to a
could have
different
found
lawyer?
legal procedures by himself. He actually had to rely on journalists to get access to Francis Sosu.
So the lawyer...
It is really a man who had nothing.
So why didn't he go to a different lawyer if he felt that he was being overcharged?
Well, in fairness, he was put in jail for 14 years without having trial.
That is not my problem. The problem is the aspect that he was vulnerable.
Yeah.
There are many other lawyers aside Sosu. So if he thinks that Sosu was mistreating him,
he has stated that a lady from Metro TV connected himself to that particular.
He had gone to other lawyers before and they were not ready to take the case.
Yes,
that's the truth. You understand? And now, the vulnerability of the lawyer.
Oh no, of the gentleman.
No, of the lawyer.
Yeah.
Because
but the legal counsel never alluded to vulnerability of the lawyer.
And I'm deciding to look at it.
Okay, that's interesting.
The vulnerability of the lawyer. And this is where the recording that came out showed clearly how Sosu was vulnerable.
Yeah.
Sosu was vulnerable to the point where he actually realized the guy is setting you up for blackmail. And that was how come he started to record the guy.
But does that not breach attorney-client engagement? I'm supposed to have a privilege, talk with my, what they call a lawyer. At no point in time can he release that unless compelled by law to do so.
And yet you are going around bad-mouthing the lawyer, telling lies about the lawyer.
Who told you it was Sosu who released the recording?
No, my only difficulty is that when you say that he started recording, that is he recorded him.
Yeah,
but why should he record it?
But assuming that, I'm assuming that Sosu is the one who did the recording because...
So you don't know that for a fact?
Yeah, I don't know that for a fact.
Okay, so I presume that because you said he recorded him, why would you do so to your client?
But I'm saying that even if it is Sosu who recorded it, this is the point where you realize that this gentleman is setting me up for blackmail. He's gone around saying, I've gone to take money in his name. I've even gone to create an account and ask that the money should be paid into Nigate. I've gone to do this. And I'm looking down on him and I'm making him look like a beggar and all those things. So, and he's gone to say it at a church or was he after a church service and then gone to the court to go and say the same thing to a certain priest who in turn informed. You understand? So when you see all these things, I must protect myself. And
so he made it on the point. This is the second time he's getting the complaint that Jare has gone around to say that.
And he admitted that some of the things he said under depression.
And he said it's under depression.
He's an angry man. An angry man says a lot of things.
How did he know that he was depressed?
That's the point.
Is he a medical doctor to tell me that he's
interesting?
That is the jailman mentality I'm telling you about. Look, everything is thought of carefully and planned. You say this one, when you say this one, when you say, look, I've had the privilege.
We are running up this conversation in 2 minutes. So
I've had the privilege of sending people to remand in prison and then going to take them after the days to court. And when you see the same people who were in your custody, in the police custody, who you have been relating with, and even the statement that they have given you in the presence of witness that and signed and everything confessed to a crime, they come out from jail, when they come out from remand, you take them to court, and they are trying to punch holes in that statement. You'll be like, is this you?
They have the right to recant, don't they?
That is not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that they have gone through coaching.
Yeah,
pocket lawyers in the
prison.
Okay, I see.
Because he's questioning more than a lawyer.
That's interesting to know. And maybe finally on this note, do you also agree to the change of these laws? The tax
absolutely.
Well, shouldn't somebody just take this up? I mean, there are lawyers who do cases. Martin Pebo did the case on what they call it, bailable offenses and all of this related. Shouldn't somebody just take up this case?
But who paid for that cost? Martin Pebo has to pay from his own pocket. Okay, he has to pay from his own pocket.
Yeah,
so is it every law?
But that payment has etched his names in the legal.
Yes. But do we have to
a very respected lawyer in that?
Do we have to sit down for everything somebody to go and challenge?
Yeah.
So then that's the case. Then a lot of the laws will remain in our books.
No, interesting. But that is true. A lot of those laws are still on our books until they are challenged.
Unless somebody goes to court to go and challenge it. So can't we do a review? Rwanda, when they said they were going to do their revolution, I listened to one of their officials spoke on. He said the first thing they did was to say, all the laws we are running our country, we inherited it. Before we can do any change in our country that will be meaningful, the first thing is to change all our laws.
The legal regime.
They rewrote their entire legal regime as a country. before they take the next step to even do any change.
I recall that there was a status review commission that Justice VCRC Crab was actually heading. I don't know what's gone of that.
See,
his business was to review virtually all the statutes, bring them up to speed.
We are a very conservative nation.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
We've been touting ourselves as very progressive.
We are a very conservative nation. You can talk about the review. Look, the Constitutional Review Commission.
Yeah. As we speak. Where is the level of implementation?
But the path has been cleared. Why are we not implementing it now?
Where is the level of implementation?
The case that was actually delaying this particular implementation has been cleared. So why are we not doing it now?
So you agree with me that we are a conservative nation?
Okay. Well, interesting.
We are so much afraid to rock the boat that okay, let the status quo remain.
Kobe, I'm afraid to abuse the time. Let me take a break and come back after 6 o'clock to continue our conversation. When we come back, we talk about money. Which of them is going to which bond? And which ones are we losing through YEA? And perhaps which Chinese institution is giving the yet to be set up special prosecutor money? We'll talk about all of those when we turn on the Auditors Forum. You're welcome back to the Editors Forum. My name is Raymond Dalko, and this is the final lap of our conversation until we tie the nice ribbons on it at 6:30. Now, let's talk money. In the course of the week, one big issue that raised was when the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, through an AFHA motion, called in the Finance Minister to explain his biggest victory so far, reprofiling Ghana's debt with some $2.25 billion. They said the very engagement has problems. Insider trading, they suspected. They also suspect some form of relational arrangement which brings in conflict of interest. To which they needed more information. They wanted full documentation. Indeed, they wanted details on the issuance, the participation, and also the utilization of the 2.25 billion that we are talking about in this case. He gave some answers. The minority was not convinced. They actually gave the indication that the minister came to say very little and asked the minister to come back with information. The minister then admitted that he was going to provide if there was any that they left out in their books. Now, I'm back in the studios with the editors and asking the simple question. Is this much ado about nothing? Or there's really, really something that's been hidden from all of us, and there's a grand scheme to take money from the state? Elvis first.
Well, for me, this issue, since it broke, my position is simple. Till we see the evidence, I don't know on what I will stand to say something has gone wrong. Simply because, you see, they have petitioned the SEC of Ghana and the SEC of the US.
Yeah.
And I think these are very credible institutions.
There's a petition before SHRAC.
Yeah, who are, as for SHRAC, even if they will be able to determine something, in my view, they will still need an expert view, somebody who understands how bonds are floated and how trading is done.
To deal with conflict of interest?
To give them an advice as to how they should go about it. That's my position.
All right.
So for me, what I say is that for now, I think that I will just wait till I get the feedback from the SEC of Ghana and the SEC of the US. Since those are the people who understand what trading is all about. And they will be able to look at some of these issues in terms of the professional and expert way of doing the thing. And then if there is something that they will question, then I think that we can all then begin to talk about it. Because for now, the minority will always say that they are raising questions on suspicion. And that is what they tell us. And for me, they have a right to say, we suspect something is wrong. But I see suspicion and fact are two different things. You can have a million suspicions, it cannot become a fact. Until you lay hands on credible facts and evidence to support your case, whatever you say will remain a suspicion. So for me, in terms of this bond issue, because when you read a little about bonds, you realize that there are trading companies who on their own even approach countries and say, look, we realize that you are finding it difficult to sell your bonds on the open market. We are ready to give you this offer, and we will buy all your bonds. And if you look at it, there are some countries that who have really gone to serious crisis, and companies have approached them, and they actually give them their bonds to manage for them. Okay. So for me, the procedure and everything we are talking about here, issues of, oh, the thing was done in just one day, and it's not like the 3 days.
From 9 a.m. to 4
all that. So for me, I think that I'm not an expert in bonds to say, But as I said, until the evidence comes, I still believe that we will all be talking about suspicion until there are clear facts and evidence. Because
so you've not heard any conclusive evidence that
and not so far, because if, for instance, Travagan, who we are talking about, that is a director at Franklin Templeton as a company, and it's also a director of what enterprise, and therefore for that reason there could be conflict of interest. So the conflict of interest that they are talking about, here is the case. Franklin Templeton is a company on its own, and Travagan is a director on it, and the director of another company that the finance minister is also a director. The question is, this same company has been dealing with Ghana for many years. Is it simply because the finance minister has something to do with enterprise, and therefore if they want to come and buy bonds in Ghana now, because of the relationship, they can't come and buy? I want to get...
The concern is to do with that 95% went to Franklin Templeton. Beyond the 95% going to Franklin Templeton,
yes.
The question about who are the other participants,
yes.
so we know whether indeed in the participation all the others watch on quietly for them to take the 95 was fair deal.
Okay.
But the finance minister's response to the participation is that it's sensitive information on the market and you don't really want to release that.
Well, but there were banks that were involved in the business.
The book builders.
Yes, and the previous government had dealt with some of this. The same book builders were dealing with the previous government. So for me, if they wanted such information, I think that as a party that just left power not long ago, I think they could find the information if really they want.
But that these book builders function for and on behalf of government. What's wrong with asking government to provide information to the legislature of Ghana?
I'm not saying that the government should not provide information. What I'm saying is, if they really want to make their case and they think that the government is not willing to give them the information, they could use other options to get the information if the information exists. That is my point. I'm not saying that the government should have a right now. I won't give you this information. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they could go beyond certain steps and get certain information that they want to get if they want to get it. You understand what I'm saying? So when I say that some of these issues, like just last week, the government floated other bonds.
Yeah.
We said there are people who want to buy and they were not given chance. But last week the bond was not sold. So where were the same people who wanted to buy?
These two bonds
that's why the tap arrangement becomes an issue. If you think that the bond is there, for the value you are getting for the bond, it's okay, because if you look at the market at the time that we floated that bond that is now in controversy or being questioned, the market value at that time we could have got it between 21 and 23%. But then we got it at 19.7%. So in terms of the financial aspect, it is value for money. In terms of how...
Are you sure?
For the market, I'm giving you that
questions that.
No, that's what I'm going to give you the market. The figures don't lie. We always tell you that I will also say that the figures will not lie. But if at that time,
so the question is that why do you take what they call it an extended 15-year bond to clear? Currently, we know that the 91-day, 182 days are actually around 12% or so. Why don't you just use resource over or ask for rollover of the current situation?
That is the problem. Then you will not have a briefing space. What happens is simple. If the bonds will be maturing quicker and quicker, it means that you are always looking for money to pay back. That's why you remember, Tekpe even told us.
We don't have money to pay back.
So let's go for longer term instruments so that they will have time to work and look for money to pay. Because we cannot continue to borrow.
But shouldn't the question be at what cost? Because the difference between 12 and 19.7 is a huge one.
But a short-term bond, a short-term instrument will not be given to the same price as a long-term instrument.
Yes.
That is money we are talking about.
I agree perfectly.
So
but shouldn't you be concerned about the vast difference?
And that will still put pressure on you for you to continue to borrow to pay. It's about creating room for you to have space to raise enough. You see, we need to pay our debt. If we want to continue to be borrowing short-term instruments to always pay, then means that we are not going to be able to reduce our debt. That is the issue. That is why even Mr. Setekpe in the last year was advocating for the fact that we should have longer instruments. So the longer maturity date is long, so that you have time to put your economy and your figures in place, and you can raise money so that whilst you are paying interest, you are also reducing your debt levels at the same time. Short instruments don't give you that space, because within a shorter period, the thing is mature, you have to pay. You don't have the revenue, it means you are going to borrow again to come and pay. So create a space where you have a debt that you know that I am paying in the next 15 years. Now, I will not have my debt going up. But then, as I'm paying interest, I'll have room to organize myself and also be reducing the principal from time to time. So maybe within this number of years, my debt will no longer be going up, but will be reducing. So when it comes to debt management policy, it is about what you want. If you want short-term instrument, then your debt will continue to go up because then you are borrowing a short instrument. You can't have the space to organize yourself to repay, so you are always borrowing to only pay, and therefore the debt cannot go down. So it is an issue we all need to understand as a country. It is not about a government or this. It's whether we want our debts to go down. What was the management strategy?
Let me ask you the final question on this one, and I need you to answer very quickly. Has the minority given you enough to suspect this particular transaction? No,
that's what I'm saying. They've not produced any fact. They said they will always say that they say they have suspicion. That is what they always say. They've not said, okay, this is document A that shows that this thing shouldn't have been done this way or that. All right. When you listen to them, and even yesterday, one of the network was interviewing a minority leader, and he still insists that, oh, they have suspicion that ABCD has gone wrong. For me, as I said, I'm not an expert in determining what is conflict of interest. That's why I'm saying that if Tropgan is a board member of Franklin Templeton as an institution and also a board member of Enterprise, and that Franklin Templeton has been dealing with Ghana, a finance minister who is also a director of Enterprise is now finance minister, and the same Franklin Templeton also continues to buy Ghana bond, does it become conflict of interest? I'm not the lawyer. I can't determine. So that is one I want it to be established that, okay, if this thing happened, the expert in conflict of interest says it is conflict of interest, I'll buy it. But for now, they are saying it's suspicion. For me, I cannot tell.
Thank you so much, Elvis. Let me bring it to your end, Kobe. The claim is that he who alleges must prove. Has the minority given you enough basis to agree to the assertion that there is implied conflict of interest? Have they given you enough basis to follow their suspicion that it's insider trading?
If we decide not to listen to the minority, we'll come to the conclusion that they have not given us enough.
Okay, so what have they said that you've heard?
I'm coming. But if we decide to follow the minority, we will see that the minority has given us more than enough. And indeed, that is why the SEC in the US would go beyond just accepting the complaint to the point of now actually naming a case officer for the case. Incidentally, in Ghana,
who is the case officer?
Is it Jeremy or something?
Okay.
Yeah, they actually appointed a case officer last week for the case.
Did these correspondents, did they put it on their website too?
Yeah, I think so. Because
I've been trying to look on the website, I've not been finding that information. I don't know.
I'll forward it to you.
Okay, very well. So I'll be pleased to have it. Yeah,
no, I'll forward it to you. On the contrary, in Ghana, we have the SEC writing back to the petitioners that they are unable to look into the matter.
Capacity.
Yeah. Capacity or whatever.
That is what they said.
Yes.
The Security Executive Commission of Ghana.
Yes.
Oh, well,
yeah, I know. The gentleman got a response. That stated that they are incapable.
I'm not lying.
They are unable to look into the matter.
Oh, this is...
That is why when you are citing it as...
I'm not aware that they wrote back.
Yeah, but I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, for me, they have capacity. They can establish some of this, but that's what they should.
They said that...
Capacity on what basis?
They said... the board that should be instituted for them to investigate the matter or to do such things, they don't have any board in existence.
Oh. They need a board before they can investigate an issue.
That's once they don't have a
board.
I
don't know their laws to that level, so I cannot say that they need a board before they can do an investigation. That I don't know.
Interestingly,
I'm told that this week they don't have their board.
That I don't know.
Interestingly, the SEC, with the boardless SEC, has a role to play in this whole bond issuance thing under the new financial management law. You know that?
The SEC?
Yes.
Well, no,
okay.
I can't
Okay. Now, you ask me, why are we saying that there could be conflict of interest situations and all this? I say, if you have been listening to the minority, yesterday on your network, Honorable Isaac Adongo did a fantastic job in presenting the minorities.
Many disagree, actually, but you continue.
Oh. Do you think everybody agree with the finance minister?
Not at all, but proceed. Yes. I just wanted to point it out there.
So,
the way you say excellent job.
Excellent job.
I see. Proceed.
Excellent job.
Yeah.
Now, he makes the point. You have an issuance calendar that says that we have a second quarter how do you call it?
Issuance calendar.
Issuance calendar. That is going to start from what?
This date to this date.
The day before the issuance calendar is supposed to come out, you have issued how do you call it, a notice that you are floating bond. Now that notice says that you want an amount of money, 5.3, around 5 billion Ghana cedis. Then you go to the this thing. By the end of the day, you were able to raise about 4.7. Then at the end of the day, you come back and say, oh, we were able to get 9.7 billion. Where did the difference come from? That difference came from Franklin Templeton. How can Franklin Templeton know that within 24 hours that you needed that amount of money and to bring that money in? Because that was not part of the things that you advertised. And that is where the minister, Adongo, was saying that, look, bring us the whatever document, the prospectus and everything. And he said, you brought the prospectus that says that this is the thing, that this is the way we have been doing things. It is like, I ask you, your team, tell us how you won this game. Then you come and tell me football is played by 11 players. They wear jersey.
Okay, so they brought a prospectus that's dated September 2016.
They brought a prospectus that say bonds, how bonds are issued.
Yeah,
but then
not the prospectus on this particular
transaction. And he's telling you that this particular
but how relevant was the prospectus?
That is where I'm coming to. He tells you that this. I'm not an expert, but I'm telling you the minorities case as I have come to understand it.
Very much so.
He is telling you that this particular transaction is not what they call the plain vanilla, which means that it is a straightforward bond, but it has a callable feature in it. So which means that it's a different set of bonds altogether as opposed to the usual bond. So the prospectus necessarily must be different. If you have a bond that has a callable feature, then the prospectus necessarily must be different from the ordinary prospectus. And then yet, when they are asking for the prospectus, you come with the prospectus that says that, yes, football is played by 11 players. A goal is scored when the ball enters the net of the opposing team. You understand? Yes, you would have described football all right, but you have not described how you won that particular game. And that is exactly what the finance minister went to parliament the other time and spoke about how bonds are issued. Me, I didn't know how bonds are issued, but listening to him, I got education.
But hold on, he was supposed to go and tell them about the issuance, participation, and utilization of the 2.25, not generally about bonds. He was not supposed
to go and tell them. He was supposed to provide them with the information.
Full documentation.
Yeah. You understand? And that information necessarily does not mean that you should go and make a statement on the floor of the parliament, as far as my understanding of the process is. You understand? So, again, this whole thing about secrecy and confidentiality is neither here nor there. Because when Parliament asks for those documents, the Finance Ministry could well release the document to Parliament with still the confidentiality clause in mind. So, Parliament will not release it to the public, or even use it in a manner that it will come to the public. And many documents of the sort have happened. Look, didn't we enter into the Gitmo 2 agreement with the United States? Yeah. Didn't the court order that agreement should be made available to the
court? Lawyers will also see
to the court for the benefit of the lawyers and their clients.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't that happen? So isn't that still maintaining our confidentiality? So I'm saying that this whole excuse about, oh, it is confidential, so we cannot no, it is not true. And I agree with lawyer Isankuma yesterday, listening to him yesterday on Newsfire, say that it can be released under controlled conditions. And that is exactly what Parliament is asking for. Parliament is not asking that go and publish it in the Ghanaian lens or in the Finder.
Is the minority now looking for documents to back claims?
The minority is not looking for documents to back its. The minority is trying to get the government's own document to show government that look for your own, because look Raymond, let me give you an assignment here. Go back from the first.
But you see, Elvis Kwashi is my managing news editor.
Yes.
He's giving me a lot of work.
Yes.
When I take on some from you, I'll be in trouble.
No, you won't.
Okay.
He will like this assignment.
I see.
Go to the first statement that came from the Finance Ministry about the release of the bond.
Yeah.
About the raising of the bond. Take that statement. Then go to the Barclays Bank website and go and look at the write-up on the issue. take that one too. Then take the second statement from the finance ministry after the minority press conference and read that one. And then take the minister's statement in parliament. Then take his response to Shraj. You will see clearly.
I have 10 minutes.
All
of these statements, what are they going to tell me?
They are going to.
It looks like you have seen them.
I have them.
Brilliant. What are they going to tell me?
They are going to show you where at each step, at each stage of the way government is introducing. They are claiming that the minorities are rather the one shifting the goalpost. Government is constantly shifting from the position.
In that breach of which law?
Oh, master.
I'm just asking a simple question.
I'm not a lawyer, so if you ask me that,
okay, I get you.
I'm telling you that
does it breach any regulation?
In all this, it shows you that there is something in the soup, and that something in the soup cannot be cannot be anything other than cooking this bond for the benefit of Franklin Templeton, through which Trevor G. Trevgan, who is a bosom friend of the finance minister, bosom friend of the finance minister, will make $400 million a year. That's the minimum. There are some estimates that put it as $484 million a year for 15 solid years at the expense of the Ghanaian taxpayer.
$5 billion in 15 years.
5
billion in 15 years. Just say 400 million a year, 5 billion in 15 years.
No, it's around $6.37 billion by the end of the 15th year. Okay. And if you add the 2.25 that you are going to refund to it, then you are talking about something in the region of about $9 billion. You go and take 2.25 in 15 years, you are coughing out 9. There's something there. I am not an expert, but I believe strongly that, and that is why I'm grateful to Okujeto Ablakwa and the minority for going outside the boundaries of Ghana. Because if we were to rely on SEC in Ghana, that case is dead. SEC in Ghana says we don't have capacity, and so they have thrown it away, straight out, without even saying that, okay, let's wait for our board to be instituted. You understand? Now, Shraj is investigating the conflict of interest.
Yes, the minority. The finance minister has responded through the attorney general's office.
The finance minister has not responded. Again, like I said, the finance.
Sorry, he has responded.
Okay, let me put it this way. The finance minister's response in that thing, I have read it again.
Yes,
again,
page.
Again, it is like the thing. How did you win the match against Kotoko? Football is played by 11 players.
I think the validity of that particular response will be determined by the Shraj, which is actually doing the investigation.
All red and boots, and then they play the ball.
Interestingly, the response is actually saying that there was no proper allegation made and nothing to back these claims. Are you sure you read that part of the response?
I heard something of the sort yesterday, and the lawyer Samson Ayeni, who was hosting the program, sort of made the petition was asking Shraj questions, but the petition was actually directing Shraj as to which areas to investigate.
Okay, so you don't think that was just giving it
an
action to go on a fishing expedition?
No, he was telling him that, look, we have reason to believe XYZ, so investigate this aspect. Conduct investigation into this and find out whether this is there or this is not there. This is what we see. You understand? Now, it is not for the petitioner. My understanding of the trial process is not an accusatorial system where you go and accuse. It is an investigative process. So you go and help both the petitioner and the person petitioned against are witnesses before. So it is not like an accusatorial process. That is my understanding of the thing. So I don't see why anybody would say that you should have gone there making accusation. I thought that you are supposed to go there to instigate an investigation, not to make an accusation. You understand? And I expect that the Shraj will continue the process and conduct the investigation into the areas pointed to, even into the areas pointed to by the minister's own response. But then there's something very intriguing about the minister's response. You know, just about a week before that time, the Attorney General had been, 2 weeks before the response came out, the Attorney General had been written to officially by Victor Adawudu requesting information on this same bond matter. the Attorney General wrote back saying that her office is not seized with those information, and therefore they cannot help the how do you call it, the questioner, the requester with those informations. Just about 2 weeks later or a week later, then you have the Deputy Attorney General on the letterhead of the Attorney General's department writing to Siraj, giving information that the Attorney General had said that they don't have. Isn't that interesting, curious? Don't you find it curious?
Obviously interesting.
No. Not you find it curious.
It's because I want to run up on this point. But
yeah, maybe the earlier response they didn't have, but maybe probably they have. I'm not saying that.
No, but
they may have spoken to the finance of the Bank of Ghana.
There's a difference because when the first one came and I saw that, except maybe probably I didn't peruse the document enough to know whether the demands were the same. But I got the impression that what is happening?
The demand was in relation to information regarding the transaction,
which
is what the response sought to give.
But the Attorney General can deny you information because you don't have a right to information.
The Attorney General is not denying access to that information. The Attorney General is simply saying that I don't have access to the information myself.
But there's a difference between giving information out and also having to defend a client, in this case, the finance minister.
But you don't understand.
On behalf of the state.
But you don't understand. You are in defending the client. You are
gave information.
That is the point.
That they probably got from the Ministry of Finance.
What is happening at
or
the
Bank of Ghana? What of the institutions that is involved?
So couldn't the Attorney General have gotten that information for?
So your point is?
My point is that this in itself is also a pointer to some either there is a division in government with regard to this matter. The AG doesn't want to get involved because from her first interview on City FM, where she made it that I have no knowledge and no involvement in this matter. Some people who tell us that this is not a process that has to go to Parliament. Maybe not.
Which was the initial request of the minority anyway, that the bond should have gone through parliamentary approval. That was their first point.
The minority is still holding
to that point. They have moved to conflict of interest and other places, which were not part of their
goal shifting in this case. So it's not only government that's shifting goalposts.
The minority has not moved. They are still on that position, except that.
No, but in the last program they didn't talk about it.
Okay, Elvis, allow Kobe to land on this point because he's eager to land.
I am not going to even dwell on that. But I am saying at the minimum, it required cabinet approval. Now you have an Attorney General who is the most senior person in government,
advisor to government,
and so in cabinet. Now, if the cabinet minister of the rank of Attorney General comes to tell us that a transaction of this nature in which she was required to advise government on, she has not been informed, and then that was the first time on City FM. Then an official letter was written to her. She comes back and reiterates that same point. Only for 2 or 3 days later. Wait.
I get you. You made this point.
3 days later,
you are repeating the point to me.
No, I'm stressing the point. I want the public to understand the picture that is in my mind. Sometimes the picture is clear in your mind, but when you are saying, you are not able to portray it clearly. So I want people to see it clearly.
So in 30 seconds, please outlay that.
So 2 days, 3 days later, the deputy comes, Elvis, my deputy, comes and puts out copious write-up, 16 pages.
Because I went to research, I went to Bank of Ghana to take the information.
No, okay, so I get that.
You know
it's plausible what he's saying could be a reason for that. What you are saying is also plausible.
Yes.
But at this particular point in time,
do you know what that means? That means that the Attorney General was not diligent.
We are delving too much into the areas of suspicion. Let's reduce the thing to fact.
I have one more minute to end this conversation.
If it's conflict of interest, I said I cannot determine.
Okay,
this
issue, yes,
and the
strategy will work. The SEC in the US will work.
Yes,
we'll see what the minority will do in Parliament if they get there. In the US, no, I said in the US. No, in the US. I mentioned the US.
This, for me, as somebody who is interested in finance, I want to see what the SEC of the US that we are told said they are investigating it will say.
All right.
For me, whatever they say will determine. But for now, whatever is being said remain speculations.
Okay, I get you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Okay, so I want you to I want you to preview the next week for me. What do you think will be the biggest story in the coming week? Yourself, Elvis first.
Coming week?
Yes.
This particular we are ending.
Yes.
Definitely, I suspect the issues of the Major Mahama's issue to continue as
all right.
a major
Thank you so
issue.
much. You, Kobe.
My best regards to Nana Yamposa Akradi.
All right.
And so the biggest issue is still the bond.
Okay, still the bond. Many
still
thanks
the
to you,
bond.
gentlemen. Kobe Fiagba is actually the editor of the Ghanaian Lens, and Elvis Daku is actually the editor of the Finder newspaper. These gentlemen were the editors on the forum today. My name is Raymond Aqua. Enjoy your evening.